Hi YouTube, it's January, new year, so I wanted to check in with you. This is mostly going to be a movie review, because I've seen some good movies lately. First off, Monster Calls, based on the original book by Patrick Ness. If you've seen some of my other recent videos, you know that I talked about the Doctor Who spin-off show Class. That was also written by Patrick Ness, and I loved that, and I really loved how he dealt with some good issues and was not afraid to tackle that in what is generally like a young adult genre. He did the same thing with A Monster Calls. It dealt really well with the complicated feelings when someone in your family is dying of cancer and you kind of just want it to be over. Personally, I haven't experienced anything like this, but by watching the movie, I was really able to empathize with the main character who has. And although I didn't have that particular experience in my life, I have dealt with kind of being the one kid in class who everyone kind of ignores. You kind of feel like you're on the outside of things, almost like the invisible man. And so that part really spoke to me. The other thing that I really loved about this movie was the design and the animation when it called for it. It reminded me a little bit of the scene in Deathly Hallows with the three brothers' tale. That they used puppets to show more of a kid's tale. This one they really used watercolors, which looked so gorgeous. I loved it so much, and they were able to tie it into the story as well, not just like, hey, we're gonna use watercolors, so why not? They tied it in well, it made sense. Like I said, it is based on a book. I have not read the book yet, but I hope to be able to do so, and I have faith it's gonna be just as good as the movie. Apparently it is a very good book to movie adaptation, and Patrick Ness did help with the screenplay, so you know that helps. Second movie we want to talk about is Hidden Figures. Oh my gosh. I think I raved about Ghostbusters last year. This is going to be the movie that I don't shut up about this year. It's about women in NASA landing a man on the moon. I mean, how could you go wrong with that movie? It's not just any women, it is focusing on 3 women of color in this movie, and I think they just did a great job exploring all of their stories. And if I forgot to mention at the beginning, based on true stories. These are actually women, not just, hey, we need a feel-good story about some women working in NASA at this time of some segregation issues, and no, it actually happened. It focused on one woman who is the head of the computing group for all the black women, and her sort of rise to make sure all of these women that she sort of took care of were able to rise, and she taught them all Fortran so they could learn how to work the computers and thus become necessary. Focused on another woman who is great at engineering, and she works against the segregation and people telling her she can't, become the first black woman engineer in NASA. She might have even been the first woman engineer in NASA. I don't remember, I'd have to check that. Which, by the way, NASA put together some great resources for people that like the movie or want to know more about that, about the real life figures they were based on and other people working at NASA at that time, so check out the link down in the description below. And it also focuses on Katherine Johnson, who recently actually got the Presidential Medal of Honor, Medal of Freedom, medal thing from the president, in commemoration of her service working on the Apollo missions, and actually just a lot of the missions. And so she figured out all the calculations, the trajectory stuff, everything. John Glenn refused to go on to the spacecraft without knowing that she checked it, even though we had computers, because at that time computers were, well, iffy. I mean, they're still iffy, but you can usually rely on them to actually do math. You couldn't always rely on them to do math then. So we relied on the women who had incredible brains. The music in this movie actually went above my expectations. I knew Pharrell Williams was working on it, and I don't really like his other music, but it worked really well in this film. The other bit that I particularly liked about it was that when it came to showing the launches of things, they actually used archival footage from NASA. And previously I had only seen the archival footage on YouTube, and you know, not always great quality. Launch footage looks great on a big screen with nice speakers. And I know it's not the same as being there, but I haven't been to a launch, and I don't exactly foresee myself going to one in the near future. So man, this was a good substitute. I loved it. It looked amazing. But lest you think that all I've been doing is watching movies, I have been writing more. I think I am one chapter away from finishing up my Merlin fanfiction story that I've been working on for a while, which is exciting. I have written more on my NaNoWriMo story, got over the plot wall in my way, and powering through. I should be doing more of that later. I don't remember if I talked about it on this channel or not, Christina Horner's wordbound challenge, but if not, I will put a link to that in the comments below as well. Essentially, it's a weekly challenge, and you write to the challenge, or you don't write to the challenge, but the goal is to keep writing all year round, write like it's Nano all the time. Maybe not quite as ferociously, but keep writing, not just in November. I also started a blog posting some of my writings for this wordbound challenge, and I'll put that in the description below, which is going to be busy this week. Of course, classes are also going good. I've got 2 astronomy classes this semester and 1 on computational physics, which is so far focusing a lot on programming of computers and stuff and using the terminal windows, which is going to be really super useful, even if it's going to be a bit of a weird class, because he'll explain some things that didn't really need explaining, and the things that you do need explaining, he'll be like, oh yeah, you know how to do that, right? And you're like, no. But it seems like we might only have 5 homework assignments all year for that. But instead I've got like 3 giant projects to do at the end of the year. I feel like I'm an art major. That's all I've got for you guys in the moment. Please check out the links I put in the description, and if you have any things you'd like to ask about astronomy, or how my life's going, or books that I might have read, like James Bond, because that's what I'm reading right now, go ahead and put it in the comments below. I love reading your comments, and maybe if I get enough, I'll do a sort of Question Tuesday video. Who knows? We'll see. I hope you guys are having a good January, despite things, and I will see you whenever I make another video. Alan Z.